What's going on, y'all? I just came from the gym and I am tired. I am tired. But how y'all doing and stuff? Ugh. All right. I figured I'd come up here and talk to y'all and stuff and everything. All that good stuff. It's been a while. Like last week was crazy. But uh before we get into that, my 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 anime uh movie night here in Milwaukee, it went well. It went well. Shout out to the girls at La Gente Arts Space. I always say La Gente, La Gente. That's on me. I just I need to learn the correct pronunciation. But man, that was cool. And I found like doing that is my type of vibe too. Like setting up because we got food and and stuff for everybody. I'm gonna reach out to other restaurants next time we do it. Want to do more and stuff. And we got all of that, and it was fun, and that was my type of vibe where it was like, okay, we come in, we be cool, we talk about the movie, look at it, be done. Like, um, it's not loud because after working in after working in engineering at these factories and stuff, like my ears is just done. Like it's not loud, it's not a bunch of commotion and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is my type of vibe, so I loved it. I hope to do another one. Um, s- Within the next month or two. Got some personal stuff coming up. Got our next little baby being born in the next few weeks or so. So I want to make sure we right with that. And then I'll be at I'll be at thing came on. My daughter's always messing with the color. I say keep it on blue, they come in purple, pink, everything. So you know what? It is what it is. I don't care. Um so we'll then I'll be at Vibes Art Space showing some speaking on like the animation process that I use with my guy that we do the animangas with and doing some art and stuff. So that'll be next month, I believe. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. And just working, looking at new people that we can see about coming in for the convention and stuff that ain't gonna like cost you an arm and a leg just for an hour or two. but but yeah, man. So before I get into some of the other stuff, one of the things I was gonna talk about real quick, and if you haven't, go to akachicomics.com, download the books and stuff. uh Leave reviews, tell me what you think about it, all that good stuff. Uh I was recently wait, I was recently doing some some art and stuff. I'm working on Damien. I was going to do some different stuff with him as far as changing his design, and then I thought about I'm not. But like I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Like I said, I've been running around helping family, all kind of stuff. So I'm a little bit all over the place with my days recently. But I am going to say that, and I'm gonna just say it out straight up. Comparing yourself to other people is bullshit. Like that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with this. And the reason why is because I seen a post and it was talking about like doing something certain things in the art space and making certain things happen and and talking about like Kickstarters and some other stuff and everything, right? And I'm just like, and when you know the people and you know certain things, you're like, hey, do that. But you start comparing yourself like, hey, I do that, and why don't why doesn't X, Y, and Z happen to you like it happens to other people? And I almost get slipped up into the world that I'm in when it comes to like creative stuff. And one of the things, um, and then I'll start comparing myself like, well, I do this, and then this person this, and then this person, but this person's better, or this person does this, and it's just not a good look at all. I was mad, and this is a completely internal thing, right? This is a completely internal thing. This ain't I went online and talked to nobody. I didn't call nobody and start talking crazy. I didn't treat anybody crazy. But this is completely an internal thing. I'm sitting here mad about some shit. It got nothing to do with me. Uh, and I'm just looking at it like. well, why ain't I or why don't I? And the thing about it is, I always tell myself is that, well, if you can care so much, why don't you do it your damn self? Like that's the way I talk to myself. It's like if you care so much and you feel like you not getting nothing or you not getting what you think you should get, go make it happen yourself. Go make it happen. And and then when I'm comparing myself to other people, and this is just me. This ain't y'all. This is telling you me how I dealt with it and how I was going through it. When I'm sitting here comparing myself to other people, I'm not even remembering the stuff that I got coming up. Like, like what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm not even remembering that I have things in the works coming up with other people. I have things in the works that I've been trying to focus on in the area that I'm in. Um, I have things in the works as far as creating and doing stuff new, trying out different things with art, whether it's the uh like a light novel I'm trying to do before the story that we're doing with Damien and stuff. And and again, it's tentatively through the fire. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that name, but um I'm working on new art for Damien and I'm just doing stuff, right? I'm doing things at the level that I'm at. And I could go and do other things, but life and life and stuff is hitting you over there, so you got to step back and make the correct decision. But when I'm sitting here comparing myself to other people, I forget all of that. Like you just like, man, why not? Or I should have, and it's just it messes up a lot of what you're doing. To me, I ain't talking about nothing. It messes up a lot of what you're doing and a lot of your progress. Because if you stay in it for too long, you won't get nothing done. And I realize that. Like I realize that art is in being creative uh in any kind of aspect. And I'm talking about engineering, I'm talking about anything. If you're sitting there comparing yourself to other people and you got that, and that's what I call hate. Like there's this weird thing where people talk about hating like if you don't like a movie or something, it's like you're hating it. Like that's not no fucking hating. That's not hating to me. That's just not liking something. That's not something vibing with you. That's not this subjective material vibing with you. To me, hating is if I'm sitting in here and this is me now, not you, not nobody else. This is me. I'm sitting in here mad about something else I seen somebody else. They ain't said nothing to me, ain't talked to me about it, ain't nothing. I just seen it on social media and I'm mad most of the day. And I don't I it keeps me from being able to create correctly. And this just ain't art. One of the things I learned even in jujitsu was if I'm sitting there focused on how somebody else may do something or they may do certain movements better than me, I start messing up. Because somebody could do I remember there was this guy, it, and he came in like randomly at the gym I was at, and one of my go tos is to this day is still the Kimura and the arm lock, the Kimura, and I can get there from several different positions. Like I know it. Like once I get that arm, I know where to go with it. I can be in, I can be in my guard. I can be in their guard. I can be in side control. I can be mounted. Anything. Like I understand where even if I had it in a weird position where I was on their back and I had that arm, I know where to go. I know to switch to an armbar. I know to switch to different things. I know to roll and turn it into something else, right? Um, there was this one guy that just like I, I'm rolling with him, put my hands on his hips. I'm in his guard. I put my hands on his hips. He's pop it off, grab me tomorrow. And I'm just like, how is he doing this? It bothered me so much that he just kept getting me in it. Just kept getting me, kept getting me, kept getting me. And then it bothered me for a few days. And then I went and tested it a few times and it didn't work. And I was like, I'm not doing something right. In when I have somebody in my guard and I'm doing this tomorrow, I'm not doing something right. And then after a while, I ended up understanding it. And I was like, huh, okay. I think he was moving his hips more when he was in his guard to slide my hips off. So immediately when I bump off and put my hands on the ground, he's already got that left or right hand grabbing my left or right hand, depending on what's going on. And and I didn't do mine like that. I didn't do it like that. So I just started doing a little bit more to bump people off, but I never really did it that way. but I got over it and kept going and stuff, right? But it was one of those things where that day when I was rolling with him, it just and it wasn't a bad it wasn't like I hated myself or anything, but I had it on my mind and I just kept going over it and kept going over it. And I wasn't able to complete nothing. I I was getting ran through that day. Just tap, 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 tap. And he knew to get back to that position. Like he knew, get back there and attack me. And I was just like, mm. So and it's the same thing. And I almost forgot about and I had to think about stuff like that yesterday. Yesterday, I believe. And I was just like, oh, what are you mad about? Like, you know what you're doing and you know how to do these things. Um, there's nothing to be bothered about. This ain't this ain't no race to nothing. This sir, you you don't have what you want. Not what you see that they've done that you haven't that you may have known or what you've done or some old stuff you've done. Is that what you truly want? It's like, no. Hell are you mad for? What is really going on? But you sitting here tormenting yourself, sir, over some goofy shit that ain't got nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me. And I'm sitting here mad and upset. And then I start and this was like most of the morning. And I was just and I think I got over it because started doing stuff for my children, started doing stuff with my children. And it wasn't because I was mad, like, oh, let me do stuff for my children. I'm mad. It's just, I'm starting to do stuff with my children, for my children, with my family and stuff. And then I was sitting down, working on some art stuff and working on Damien and some other stuff, everything, and and getting back to where I'm supposed to be and focusing on what I'm supposed to be doing, it it helped me snap out of that goofiness. Like it really did. It helped me snap out of it. And I'm like, yo, man, if you're not worried about yourself and worried about the pace that you're at, you might as well call it a day. Yeah, like all you might as well call it a day. All this what this person took this amount of time, or this person did this, and I know how to do that. Why ain't nobody talking to me? Like, fuck all that shit. And I'm talking about for me. Fuck all that shit, man. I need to sit down and focus on what I need to be doing. Mind my own business, which is what I'm usually good at. What I talk mess about like TV shows and stuff. But again, to me, that's not hating. That's just not making jokes or not liking something that's subjective. I'm talking about something, man. If I'm sitting here bothered about some other stuff, it's like, man, and as a creative or anything you're doing, if you're worrying about somebody else, you might as well hang it up. So one of the things that got me out of it, right, was that I'm working on I say was because I don't think I'm gonna change his style right now because I don't think I have the capability to do what I want right now. So I figure I'll get better later. That's what I was thinking too. Um, while I was working on it. So I'm working on it and I'm realizing that I'm able to construct the whole body, like and put anatomy parts where they're supposed to go a lot better. And when I look at it, even when I step away after a few hours or overnight or I go pick up my kids or something, when I look at it, I see um that it makes sense. Like before, I might have like a little shoulder or something off, but before, body would be lopsided, the arms would be this, it would look. But now I'm able to focus in a lot more and get the body a lot more spot on what I'm trying to do. And then I was like, so you sitting here mad about something else somebody else doing, and you've personally made noticeable steps for yourself, not what nobody else say, not I post online, somebody else see it. You've made noticeable steps for yourself without having to trace it, without having to look at a different body for reference anything. I can I can do it and it looks more like a body. Is it perfect? No, because I think sometimes the shoulders might be off or something, so I gotta shorten that and everything. But the arms and everything starts to look more like an actual body. And hey, Mook, is your brother up? Okay, we gotta get rolling in a little bit. Um, what is that? Oh, okay. she was eating. So, um, and so the body looks a lot better than what it did last year. And mind you, it's only been a year and a half now since I've been drawing, so it the things look a lot better. And I'm sitting here mad at myself because I'm sitting here mad at myself, and I'm not even mad at the person. I'm sitting there hating and mad, but I've made noticeable differences that I noticed. Not again, not that somebody else told me that I can visually look at, come back and be like, "Oh, that's cool." But I'm sitting here hating. Like appreciate yourself. Care about yourself. Love yourself. Because this, even if I've done the things, what that got to do with right now? That has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. And so I had to sit back and really just look at it and and go over it and then trace it over and make another one and stuff. And and I had to do that for a little bit just to get the hate off of me. I've created, not that nobody did anything wrong with me, because that post had nothing to do with me. Nobody did anything wrong to me. I'm just sitting here hating. So it is what it is. I think the only person you should be, and you see the quote, but then you got to live it. You see the quote where people talk about you should only be comparing yourself to who you were yesterday and all that other stuff. You hear it and it's like, but then when it's in action, sometimes it's hard to work through it. And and that's one of them things that I had to work through. And even with, and I think again with the story that I'm doing with Damien, um, I think it's so what is this talking about? Okay. Anyway, I think it's relevant because with Damien's story, that's kind of things that I want to focus on with him, even though he's coming, even though he's coming through being a flame bringer, a destroyer of things. I want him to know that he's doing things for the right reason. Like he's just not doing and tearing stuff up just to tear it up. And that's kind of where I'm trying to direct this story to see how this is going to fall out and if I can get him to a point where he's not tearing up stuff just because of his own feelings. And because these people did him wrong or he's emotionally doing it. And I might write something. I plan to do something where he does do something like that and he's gonna have to pay for it because it happens. It happens to all of us. Do some things quickly out of hate, out of frustration, out of misunderstandings, out of anger, out of being lost, out of hurt, out of sadness, and then you're gonna have to pay. Even if you're the main character, you're gonna have to pay for that. And so I I want to do that with Damien as well. So yeah, that was just a little instance of whatever that was going on and stuff. And I had to get over that. So I got over it by minding my own business, helping other people in my family, and then focusing on the things that I have done well and noticing what the work that I've put in and remembering what I have to do in the next few months and remembering what I have to do. That's how I got over it. Just think about what I got to do, what I have done, like right in front of me with my art or even my writing and stuff. Um, Pay attention to that. Focus on that. If I have a better understanding of a thing, if I can implement that thing from that understanding, then pay attention and be proud of yourself with that. You'll get to the other stuff. You'll get to that. And besides, I can make it happen. I got stuff coming up anyway where I can make it happen. So it's like, why are you hating? Like why are you being hard on yourself and treating yourself a certain way and putting yourself out through all this mental anguish because something that you saw that ain't nobody even did nothing to you. So it is what it is. But before I get out of here, I got some other stuff I want to talk about. I've recently read Kaiju number 8. I believe it's chapter 124, 123. Man, with one of them. And I like, so the gist of this chapter is that Monster 8, uh Kafka is still fighting 9. 9 is giving him some issues after he kind of came into understanding more about Monster 8 and how long it's been around and stuff like that, which I still feel like I need some more explanation on. Still feel like I need a little bit more because I don't know if they're going to end it with this or if they're going to keep going after. With I believe it's Matsumoto. I don't know if he's going to they're going to do it after or is this just it? And in the way it's reading is seeming like this may be it. The way they kind of drawing this out. Could be wrong, but we'll see. And and so he putting a record on him, got his head blown off and stuff, grew back because that's not where his core is at. and his monster done powered up and stuff. And 9 started shrieking, and they brought back the rest of and he brought back the monsters that the team has been fighting over the last few chapters. So they're coming back, and I think they're going to with Monster One, dude that has Monster One. They're going to try to help him get to Kafka or something, and maybe use his ability, something like that. I could be wrong, but I don't feel like much happened in this chapter. They fight, they can find out a little bit. It's whatever. But what I want to talk about with that is like Monster Eight. I, it has been one of my favorite recent ones, and I've read every chapter, and I haven't stopped. And I don't because I stopped Kagurabachi. Like I stopped reading that. It was just like okay, I all right, but I still read Monster Eight, and so I'm not going down. I'm not going to talk too much about that. I want to stay on what I want to talk about. And the thing about Matsumoto's drawing and stuff that I really like is that it's simple to follow, and sometimes I almost thinking it's a little too simple, but it's nothing wrong with that. To me, where the level I'm at right now, because I still read Berserk and stuff, and that's I ain't got no issues with that. Uh, um, but Matsumoto with Kaiju 8, it's so simple to follow, and when I'm paying attention to him, I'm like, okay, he usually does 4 to 5 pages. I mean, 4 to 5 panels per page, and it's just it makes it understandable for me when I'm reading and how it should be and how I could do it with through the fire and Damien story. It was like okay, and most of his panels are the same, like big, small, small, big, big, or two, big, two, and it's like okay, and just the flow of it is real simple. Like it's simple and easy to follow, and so that's the main thing that stood out to me, and I've been looking at when I read the stories, and that's why I've been trying to do a little bit more reading. Well, not a little bit because I've been reading that and um been trying to go to other ones. It's just that I read before I go to sleep and then I pass out. But it works. And so it's something that I really like. I got to get back to JoJo. What was it? JoJo Lands. I have to get back to that. Um, I just haven't. I just none of them have grabbed me. So it is what it is with that. But I really like that. And again, I'm not this chapter. It wasn't too much. It wasn't a lot that went on, and I'm not good at drawing out. Like if it wasn't a lot of stuff, I'm not really good at, and it didn't capture me. I'm not really good at hey, this and that happened and that and this. Do you think that's gonna happen? It's like, that's what happened. They still fighting. Kafka's still fighting. Kaiju 9. Kaiju 9 started shrieking. Brought back the other ones. The other ones got brought back to life. They gonna try to see about getting powers to Kafka and 8. That was it to me. That was it to me. So yeah, and then the other thing was so I have been I think I said this before. I have been watching wrestling um like not not well, I do watch like collegiate freestyle wrestling. I watch that too. But not that, WWE type stuff, AEW stuff. And before I go on, I seen people talking about like a Tony Storm match when they were talking about how the women were bleeding and stuff and everything. And I was like, I don't give a damn. Let them women do what they gonna do. But also I'm kind of biased because since I really started because I've always been in and out. When I was younger, I watched it all the time. When I was young, but then the last 10, 15 years or so, been in and out. And it's just been like background, like in and out here and there. But recently, in the last year or two, I've been getting right back into it. So I know 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 2010s, I just missed. Like the 2010s, I was just, nothing, nothing. Okay, missed it. I am going to say that, like, they were talking about the Tony Storm match, and my bias comes from that Tony Storm may be one of my favorite wrestling entertainers right now, if not my number one, like beyond anybody else. Like, she is my number one because the her matches are good. I feel like some of the women now currently, not like what it was when I was watching it in the '90s and stuff. Because women in Japan, they were they would be on it. Like the women in Japan and Mexico, they seem to just be on it. Women now, some of it, especially in WWE, you can tell that it's all like choreographed. And the idea is to take away that that is choreographed. And that's not a problem because it's nothing wrestling ain't to me ain't nothing but stage play with people getting tossed around. That's what it is. It's a mobile stage play, people getting tossed around, telling a story. That's it. This ain't no they really get bumped, they really get bust over the head. It's not it's a fake fight. It's not supposed to be real. Like it's not. It's supposed to look like it. But um some of the women now, the stuff just look too choreographed. It's like, oh God. And then even some of the dudes, but I was like in the 80s with like um in the 80s and 90s, like with Bull Nakano and some of them other ones. And even Alundra Blaze was really good too. Like a lot of her stuff, I and maybe this is just because I was younger and I believed it. But anyway, I'm not getting into that. Let me. I'm gonna go too far. I felt like that. Uh, Tony is one of the best entertainers, and I love the whole Timeless Tony Storm character, man. I've said this before, and I love that character. I love that character. I love how they have her in black and white. I love how she plays it. I hope she keeps going. And I loved how they played it. They could have stretched it out a little bit longer. Where she came back as regular old Tony Storm, then she went back to Timeless Tony Storm. I was like, y'all could have played that out a little bit longer. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I would love to right for wrestling or something, I would have a time with that. That'd be interesting. But I didn't have a problem with that match. I thought they played it out well. They did everything well with that whole match. Blood is whatever. I think Tony may have cut herself a little bit too deep, or somebody may have, when they did it, it was like, ugh. Um, but it is what it is. So I I was paying attention to the John Cena thing and everything that's going on with like WrestleMania. And I feel like with this WrestleMania, they may be kind of throwing some stuff together. Like I don't feel like they got everything together on this one. Cause like they still got matches going on now and stuff. And I felt like some of the other ones were a little bit more materialized for because with it being this close. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe there's something they did in that gap I was gone. Like I said, I know about 80s, 90s, early 2000s, up to about 2007, 8, maybe even 9. 2010s up. I've been out. So maybe it's something else. But I feel like they could be doing a little bit more. Um, but the whole John Cena thing, I knew that I said like you can go through one of my videos. Yeah, I don't know which one it is. But I talked about your fans and people that like you cheering you on to your death. And I used John Cena. I used him as an example when I talked about it. It's on one of these lives on my YouTube. You can find it. I may have to find it. And I was talking about how uh this man is coming out and he's like, oh, I don't think I got. And I wish they would have talked about this, but this is just my observation that I said about a year or two ago, or a couple of months ago, before he even around that time he um wrestled solo, I believe. So maybe about sometime last year, something like that. So maybe about a year, and he was talking to people, and he was coming to the fans, and he was saying that he didn't like. He was about done. He's been through a lot. He got some other stuff coming up, and he doesn't think he has it anymore. And blah 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 blah. And he's coming out talking to the people when he first started coming back to do whatever. And people was doing the you still got it, you still got it, and he's standing there. He's like, and then in matches, and then in the matches, I'm looking at him and he's slowing down and stuff. He can still do the usual, but it's like he's slowing down. He isn't moving the way he used to. And I talked about in that particular one, I didn't talk about him turning heel. I didn't say, well, I knew he was going to turn heel, but what they're using is what I was kind of saying is that you can't listen to these people. You can't listen to these people. Again, the other side is you start listening to people and then you put yourself somewhere you ain't trying to be. Starting off with what I was saying, I'm reading and even when they're talking about you, you looking into it and then you getting mad and feeling like you gotta do and stuff, and you just ain't moving the way you used to. As the older you get, no matter how much you stay in shape, you can't do all that mess all the time. That's why I always say, what some of these wrestlers like CM Punks, the AJ Styles and stuff like that, they're still doing it, but at what cost? Like what are you doing? You jumping around and flying around and all this other stuff for these people, and I ain't mad at it. Do what you got to do, but that mess is going to catch up with you, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. I seen Seth Rollins talking about it. I mean, somebody it takes him longer and longer to take off his ring attire when he goes to the in the locker room, and that's the truth. It's like that with doing jiu-jitsu. Like it takes longer and longer to get out that wet gi, them wet clothes and stuff, and it's just like the older you get, so you slow down and you do, unless you on steroids and doing some other stuff that helps you heal a lot faster, and that's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. I ain't about to stop you or talk crazy about you. It's just part of the game. But hearing him talk about what he was talking about recently, I was like, when he was saying, you guys never asked me how I felt. You never asked me how I felt, or you have never cared about me. And I wish he would have talked about that when it was like, I came back and I told y'all that I didn't have it, and you forced me to keep doing a thing and kind of blame the fans. You know, it's not the fans' fault, but it's a story. It's part of the game. So thought about, I was like, this is where I was coming from. He's like, nobody asked him how he felt. They weren't like, hey, John, do you still want to? He's telling you, no, I ain't got it in me. No, no, you still got it. You can do it. You can do it. Get out here and entertain us. And I think that's a reason to be upset, because you get upset with yourself because you can't move the way you want to. Then these people still want you to do what you want to do for them, all that stuff. And so story wise, it makes sense to me. It makes sense. It's like, well, if this person can get me to this point, or if this person thinks they're going to be the new me, or take a step into where I am, I'm mad about it. So I thought it was kind of cool. But my main thing with wrestling is because I'm thinking about doing like stage plays and stuff. And it amazes me how they can get the attention of these people and hold it. Like I really, what was that? Uh Gotta change that. I would I study it to see how they get people, like whether it's John Cena and Cody Rhodes, whether it's Ultimate Warrior back in the day, whether it's Jey Uso now, whether it's Tony Storm, whether it's The Rock. And I'm trying to study and understand, like, what do you do to get also it's time, like it's time and consistently being there for people. So I like studying it and I like watching it, and it's something that amazes me. Like, even and then I even watch stage plays, and I watch the ones that people get hype on. I watch the ones that grab people and they watch them. I'm like, man, this is wild. And it's like I'm learning that it's not even like studying it from a writer, creative perspective. Some of them like, it got to be a good story. No, it don't. Like, no, it don't. And the one thing that I do agree with, I don't feel like it has to be a good story, but what I do believe it has to be, it doesn't have to be a good story. It doesn't even have to follow all of the so-called conventional structure correctly. To sell it and to get it to certain people that care, yes, it does. But when it gets to the people, um, Araki talks about it in his book, uh, um, How to Create Manga. I forgot the name, but the How to Create Manga, and he talks about characters. And that has been the consistent. It can be a Tyler Perry movie, it can be a Tubi movie, it can be all kind of stuff. If the world can be garbage, they can not explain. They could just say we in the backwoods and everything. But if these people like these characters, oh, it's over. It's over. If they like characters, everything else can become second nature. Especially if it's something continuous. If they love them characters, you got them. And if you can get them be emotional over these characters, it's wild. Because like even with the Tyler Perry show, I watched that Beauty in Black and it frustrated me. Now I'm going into character stuff, but this is what John Cena and them made me think about. Um, and even with manga and everything, like the characters in Beauty in Black pissed me off. Like I had nightmares after watching that. And the thing is, I'm trying to think about if I'm going to watch the second season, study reasons, because I've been watching his plays and other stuff. This is some background stuff I've been doing. Ain't telling nobody besides now. And it's like I these all these Negroes is trifling. Like I don't like none of them. They all just trifling, evil, nasty people. Like all of them. But all of them have a different degree of trifling. They all have a different degree of trifling that emotionally will bother you. And it bothers you, and it bothers me to a point where I'm like, this shit is garbage. It's like everything is garbage. But then I'm watching it, it was like, I don't like him. Why would he do this person is an idiot? And I realized that's an emotion that Tyler Perry just works on. And I think Lee Daniels is kind of like too, in comparison to like um jumping over the manga now, like in Tower Mirror. I think he did the things with Griffith and Guts just to just to piss you off to tell the story. And he's reading it and he's like, okay, this pisses me off. It's gonna piss off some other people with the things that Griffith had did during the eclipse, stuff after, everything that just keep golden at Guts. And it's like, why don't you leave this man alone? You're so freaking trifling. And when you're reading it, you can't get around that. Like you, because there's moments that you can't get around it, get around it, and it makes you care about and want to see these characters. Whether that emotion, when I say care, brings out emotions about these characters, whether it's whether it's disdain, hate, or whatever. But because of these characters' wants, needs, and how they go about getting those wants and needs, it makes you care about what's going on. It makes you emotional to the characters, and that's important. And so it's something that I have been studying. It was like, okay, what are these characters wants? What are they needs? And how which one are we going to have them go towards? And how are they going to get there? And who do they have to do what to keep it rolling? And I think that's something that I've really been trying to work on with these characters and and build out more in the storytelling. And it was something that I didn't fully understand before. So I'm trying to work on it a lot with Damien now. So that's what it is. I could go on some longer, but I got to take my little people to school and stuff. Uh, but I wanted to get up here and talk to y'all and chop it up with you a little bit and stuff. And I'll talk more about that, especially if you're like, hey, talk more about that. I'll talk more about it, like the process behind writing characters and stuff like that. And the reason why I can talk more about it, also, I'm gonna be honest with you, the reason why I understand it and I'm getting better at understanding it is because I messed up before and I didn't add some of those elements into my other characters. So there's things I wish I could go back and do, which maybe later, maybe we get it a certain way we can improve it. But I learned this thing from trial and error. This isn't me like I read, I went and I found people that could talk to me about it, or I could read it or I could watch it. And that's where I learned it from. So it's not like I've never done it and then I'm just barking at you. You can go read my stuff. Go read my stuff and check it out. And it's like there's things that I can do better. And now I know what to do. So I'm going to do those things better and try to work on them. So any of the stuff I'm talking about, like building characters and making people care about the characters, um, it, it's something that I learned. And so before I go, one of the ones I really learned that with is in my story, The Extraordinary Messiah. And I did a lot of things that I wrote down and I would leave and I would come back to, and I thought it was funny or I thought it was something that I could sneak in there to make people be like, oh my God, that I can get something out of a person. And then when I put it in the animanga and I showed it to people at film festivals and stuff, they laughed at and they got the things that I wanted to say. They got the things that I wanted to say. They got it. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track with writing and doing these things because if it makes me feel a certain way and it brings up certain emotions in me when I'm rereading it before I even get art done or anything, it makes sense. So one of the characters in there, and I talk about him a lot, is I think I forgot his name. My um uh Lewis. I think his name is Lewis. Like I have to go back. He the light skinned dude. This the the half mixed kid. That's this Bradley's brother in The Extraordinary Messiah in chapter 2. and well, in both chapters. And I found that when I write him, I hate this motherfucker. Like I hate this guy. And I wrote all of his words. And then when people read it, they would come back and be like, I hate that guy. I was like, he's such a jerk. And I was able to pull those emotions out of people that I had when I was writing it. And so that was something that I really knew that I had, and I had to cultivate and do more of it. It's just that I need to make sure he has specific wants and needs that he's working towards, or else he's just going to be there to be a jerk. And I don't want him to be there to be a jerk, or any character. I don't want him just to be there to be a jerk. I want them to have certain wants and needs that they'll be working towards, that makes him a fully fleshed out character. So these are some of the things that I've been studying and trying to get on. Whether I had to talk to somebody, whether I had to read it, whether I have to write it and then look back at it and then go with it. And the storyboarding is one of the things that helps with that too. I'm like, look at it, I come back to, I'm like, oh no, I need to add this to make this whole make this whole make these plots right here, make them make more sense. So I start adding more or taking away from to make it all make sense. But I mean, again, characters are what matter a, a, a lot, because if these people can care about these characters, you're good. Because I watch people, like, if you go into like the Tubi movie stuff, or even like Tyler Perry posts, like when people that like it, they don't talk the same way as people in comics do. They don't. They talk positively about the movie. Even if the people are garbage, they interact and have conversations about how these people are garbage, but they like it. In comics, is just, you don't like it, we don't this, we don't that. And even I ain't no better. I do the same thing. But looking at how people interact with these trifling characters, even though I'm having nightmares watching Tyler Perry show, because the niggatry, I can't take it. Um, I just nightmares. But people like it, and they like the characters in it. They ain't no big fleshed out world, this, that, and that, and this character. They like the characters, and they consistently like the characters that he brings. So get them characters. Again, I got to take my kids to school, so I have to talk about this later. But as usual, go to akachicomics.com, check out the books, read one, leave a review, message me, tell me you love it, you hate it, garbage, whatever. It's all good. And I'll be doing some more stuff. I'll try to get back up here again, probably next week. You know how I go, or whatever. Maybe later this week. But I gotta take my kids